Hey, Mega Moms! Jessica Hensley here with Real Estate Mega Moms, where we help moms create a life and a business that they love. And today I am joined by one of our original girls in the inner circle in Mega Moms, Morgan Powell. She is a rock star, and you're going to want to hear how she sells. Last year sold 116 homes, and I think that was a down year. So this woman is a rock star. I'm excited to chat all things real estate with her. Hey, Morgan, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Jessica, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
I love that you've been part of our tribe for so long, and you were just sharing like you've been an avid listener of the podcast and now you're on it. It's just so cool. Full circle, right?
Yes, full circle.
Okay, so why don't you just start by introducing yourself and let's talk about how and when you got into real estate.
So I got into real estate 13 years ago. I was in my senior year of college. I got my real estate license to help my mom. She was a top producing real estate agent in our town and still is. We're teamed up now. But at the time, it was really hard for her to be able to travel because, as you know, it's hard to leave town when you have open houses and clients to take care of and things that pop up. And so she needed somebody that she could trust. And so I got my real estate license to help her. And at the time, we had a lot of short sales and foreclosures in our market still. And she primarily does new construction. And so she kind of told me that I'm going to work on learning short sales and foreclosures. And I did, and I thrived. And I got to help a lot of people start investing in real estate. And then my husband and I graduated college in 2012, and I kept my real estate license and did that part-time while I was a fundraising director for a local college. And then about 10 years ago, I went into it full time because I wanted to be able to travel and spend more time with my husband. Well, he was deployed overseas to Afghanistan, and we decided that we needed to figure out, a way to bring him home and a way to create another, income basically, so that he wouldn't have to be deployed. And so we decided to invest in real estate. And so we bought our first investment property in 2014. And then I've been growing my investment portfolio and growing my real estate team and expanding both every year.
Wow, what a story. So you grew up as a real estate kid then,
I
right?
did, yeah.
So sometimes, I mean, like I know Henry, my dream is for him to get into real estate, to follow in my footsteps. I want to build this business for him to take it over. So I'm sure your mom is thrilled, but I also know a lot of our kids are like, I don't want anything to do with that, right? Like what was your feeling?
I was kind of on the fence about it. I saw the flexibility that she got to have, and she got to be at everything, and I loved that. And so that made me want to. It made me realize that I didn't want to work 9 to 5 and not work for
Mhm.
somebody else. Like I wanted to be the creator of my own schedule.
It's like once you get into this world, it's really hard to go back to working for someone else. And like you said, that clocking in, clocking out, or just yeah, having to live on someone else's schedule.
For
That's
sure.
exactly right. So, and you're a mom. So how many kids do you have?
So I have 2 kids. I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. And so life has been kind of hectic. They're 18 months apart, so they keep me on my toes, but they go to a lot of appointments with me, and they've learned to just roll with it. So it's been good.
I love it. So you have basically a COVID baby then.
Right. I had them right before COVID. So like
Okay.
2017 and 2019.
Okay. Okay. So you are selling a ton of houses. And by the way, we should also mention where are you located in case you want to send you.
I'm in Salina, Kansas.
Okay. And that's like, how far is that from me? Like 2 hours,
I think
two-ish,
we're about 3 hours.
3 hours away. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm in Independence, Kansas. And I love talking to Kansas girls, but I'm in a very small town. I mean, less than 10,000, as you know. So her husband's actually a pilot, and you tell him what does he do and what's the connection to Independence?
So he sells airplanes for Textron, and so he'll go to Independence to deliver the airplane, basically.
Yeah. So, it's a small town. So
Yeah.
your area, what's the population there?
We have about 50,000 people in Salina, and then we've got 3 or 4 smaller communities of less than 10,000 that we work into.
Okay. So, I mean, it's a medium size. I know that we have people in all different markets, but I think one thing that's refreshing about our podcast and a lot of times our guests is we have like a lot of rural realtors that we interview. And for other agents out there that are in the smaller communities, I think sometimes we feel left out because the big podcasts and the gurus and the coaches, they're like, oh, yeah, I'm selling $2 million houses. And it just seems like, oh, well, that's not going to happen for me, right?
Exactly.
So, what's the average price of a house in your area?
So the average price in Salina is probably around 160,000. We do a lot of new construction, so our price point is quite a bit higher. But it's a vast range. I mean, sometimes we'll sell, you know, a $50,000 house, and sometimes we'll sell like a $1.2 million house.
Yeah. And you sold 116. Is that for you and your mom, like your team?
Yes.
And why don't we talk about that dynamic of the mother-daughter duo and any other team members you have?
Yeah, definitely. So my mom primarily focuses on new construction. She's represented the same builder for over 15 years. And then I kind of handle the listing side of it, like on the existing homes. I do a lot of helping people like move up into their next home, deal with a lot of the contingencies. And then we have two agents that are so great about helping us with paperwork and showings, like when I can't make it. So that's been really great. And then I have a little side hustle where I've been helping teach investors how to invest in real estate. And so I've been doing a lot of that. I do a lot of investor showings too. So evaluating the deals and figuring out if it makes sense or not.
We have to talk about that. So, I am trying to get into investing that whole world right now. I don't know if you watched the podcast. Some of them haven't aired actually yet, but I interviewed Jamie Flanagan.
I just listened to it last week. Yeah.
Okay, so good, right? And so
Yeah.
she's in Omaha, so she's not too far from us. Um, but I went to her house. She owns 85 properties and two in Denver, one in Phoenix. So we all flew to Denver and stayed at one of her houses there and just stayed for a couple days. And it was these two ladies that are just like massive investors. One of them does 10 flips at a time. Like I can't even
Wow.
imagine. Yeah. And then Jamie has 85 properties. And then me and Jen, we're trying to get into it. So anyway, long story short, Jamie has talked me into hosting an investor class here. I flipped a
Wow.
few houses. I've done a few rentals, but I had a bad experience, Morgan. Um I had a house burned down because somebody was like literally cooking meth in one of my houses. So
Wow.
it was not good. But this first house that my investment property, first rental I ever owned, I was 23. I think my husband was like 24, 25, and we got a twofer. So we got our primary residence, and then these were both rentals for the people we bought it from, but we lived in one and we used the other one as a rental, which was a single wide trailer house. I mean, it wasn't, it wasn't amazing, but we owned it for 10 years and we rented out for $400 a month, which basically paid our monthly payment for our house because it was a cheap house. I mean, this was in 2005, 2006. But it made our payment for 10 years. And then we got insurance money. So, it wasn't a bad deal. But hopefully you don't have that experience. So,
Not
anyway,
yet.
tell me about your investment class and how you're using it to attract leads.
So I've had a lot of clients that like either they want to invest in real estate, but they're just like, I just don't understand. I don't know if I should or not, because it's definitely not for everybody. So I kind of created two different courses. One is about the 6 things. It's basically the foundations to understand investing in real estate. It's called the 6 foundations of investing in real estate. And then I have a second course for profiting more on investing in real estate by self-managing your own rentals. Because a lot of times I would have clients that would buy investment properties, but then they would call up like 3 months later and they'd be like, I have this major issue and I want to sell everything right now. I am done. And it was like, if they would have just had a plan, they wouldn't have had that problem.
I
And
needed your
so
course before I bought my rental, it sounds like.
and so like I try to like deep dive and like these are the things that you should do before you even rent it out. These are the things you should do every year to maintain it. These are the relationships you need to have. So we really go in on all of those little areas to kind of make them like their master recipe that they need to follow. It's not 100% foolproof, but it's pretty close. I've only had one eviction, so.
That is genius. That is genius. So, have you ever thought about white labeling this? Like, maybe we should talk about this afterwards because that sounds like something that other realtors can duplicate, but not have to recreate what you've already done.
Definitely. And I've got a workbook too that would go with it too. So for sure.
Cool. Okay, well, maybe we'll do like a part 2, so stay tuned, ladies. But how do you distribute this and how many leads do you think it's actually generated for you?
So it's very new. Like I just started working on it this past fall, and mostly it's just been through like Instagram and TikTok, and it's brought in like some local leads that. And I've actually just closed on the first one last week, and that they wanted to invest in real estate. But really, this course is built for anybody to teach. It doesn't matter where you live; these foundations can apply to anywhere, not just Salina, Kansas.
That is so smart. What's your Instagram handle? We're all going to be stalking your page.
It's at Hey Morgan Powell.
At Hey Morgan Powell. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm totally checking that out. So basically, you're using it as a lead magnet. You're talking about it in your stories and on your page and in Reels.
Mhm.
And then how much is the course?
So each course is $497,
Mhm. 'Kay.
and
Do you have it on Stan Store or
I
like
do have it on Stan Store, and I
Insta?
linked it through Instagram.
Okay, very cool. So what I'm thinking about doing is a investor class and getting. So I have a lender that's coming that specializes in investment, lending, um, an attorney, a CPA, and an insurance agent, and we're gonna just answer questions for 2 hours. And I mean, I'm doing this with Jamie and her husband because he's a lender, and they have an agenda that we're gonna go through. But I'm so excited. We're doing it the
Awesome.
first time in March. Have you ever done an investor seminar?
I have not. We've done like home buyer seminars, but not investor seminars. No.
You totally should. You totally should. It sounds like you have everything you need for it.
Yeah, I would
So
love to do that. It's a really good idea.
okay, so let's jump back a little bit. Let's talk about juggling being a mom and selling that many houses, and how is that even possible with your schedule? What does that look like?
So I have a really good plan every day, and I have a really great support system though. Like my husband's able to help me a lot, and then my mom. I think like with being a team, she's either helping me with showings or she's helping me with kids. We live about 2 blocks apart, and so she's been very flexible about babysitting or making last minute showings work. And then adding the 2 team members has been a game changer for me because I can't be out every single evening showing houses. It's my job to be mom and be home cooking dinner.
Yeah. So your two team members, are they like showing agents or what are their positions?
I wouldn't just call them showing agents. They're kind of they're magical. They wear these magical hats. One of them specializes in marketing. She's got a master's degree in marketing, and so she does a lot with our social media. The other one has over 20 years of real estate experience, and so anytime we get a weird contract, it's going to her. If it's not our board's contract, it's going to her, and she's reviewing it. And so then we have at least 2 sets of eyes on every contract. She'll help us do like a seller's net sheet or a summary sheet for every offer, those kinds of things.
How did you find these people? And if you're comfortable, don't feel like you have to, but if you're comfortable sharing like your comp structure, I think a lot of people would be interested in that.
So the comp structure is different on each one. A lot of times we pay like a flat fee for showings, and then they get bonused on if the house sells, then they'll get bonused on it if they did the showing on it. And then we pay like a flat fee for marketing, like per hour. And then I have like seller reports that we have done every single week. So then we pay like a fee on those as well. And then we have like things like newsletters and postcards that go out every single month. So we pay a fee on those as well.
Do they just like invoice you for those fees?
They do. Yep. And then
Perfect.
we 1099 them at the end of the year. And I pay one of them twice a month, and the other one I pay monthly.
And do they sell on their own as well?
They do. Yes.
Okay. And is that like under your team and you guys get a split, or is it totally separate from y'all?
So one is under our team and then one is not. So the one that's under our team, we get a split on.
So basically, these people are just like, this is a supplemental. This is something, to help maybe in the slower or drier months. And they know they can stay busy and have a consistent paycheck with you guys.
For sure.
Okay. And other question is, how did you find them?
So one of them, she worked with my mom at Coldwell Banker when my mom was at Coldwell Banker a long time ago. She was the office manager, and she decided to follow us to the company that we moved to several years later. And she wanted to work part-time for us. And so that's what she's doing. And then the other one, she grew up in real estate. Both of her parents were real estate agents. And she was our office coordinator for a while at our company. And she like basically managed the phone calls and scheduled listings and input things into the MLS. And then she left for a while for another position. And then we had recruited her in 2020 to come work for us.
So you sought them out, you saw talent and you thought, they might work for us. And then when you found the need, you recruited them. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Well, I'm excited that you grabbed the Micro Team Mega Results book. I think that you'll love it because it's really in line with exactly what you're doing. And it might even make some of the roles like even more streamlined. I mean, it sounds like it's very streamlined, so you may not need any help at all. But I know for me, whenever I kind of laid it out in the work chart, it helped so much. And some things I didn't even realize that we weren't doing that we needed to be doing. So
Oh yeah, and I'm definitely excited to read it. Like right now, life's a little crazy, but I'm like, next year it's going to be different. My youngest is going to kindergarten next year, so
yay.
right now she goes to preschool 3 hours a day, 4 days a week, and so like I work, during those 12 hours, which is like less than 12 hours when I am driving up and down the road, giving to school and stuff. So.
Work less than 12 hours a week and sell 116 houses. Like, I love that. That's
Well,
amazing.
that's the 12 hours of like for sure focus time. I mean, I'm
Right.
working like before they wake up and a little bit in the evenings, but
Yeah. Okay. I love it. I love it. Morgan, what would you say is some advice that you would have for a mom that's kind of similar situation with young kids? Maybe they're just getting started in real estate. What's something that impacted your business the most?
being consistent, like pick something and be very consistent on it. Like we are very consistent on our Facebook. We post like all of our listings on there, and we post tips and videos on there. And then I have started repurposing those onto TikTok and Instagram too. And then we're seeing some traction, and we're even posting to LinkedIn. And then just making sure you have like a set plan of what you're going to do every day. And I like to do like a brain dump every night. And so like I make a list of like, okay, these are the documents I need to work on for tomorrow. These are the people I need to follow up with. And I try to stick to that. And then I read the 12-week year, and I kind of have like a plan for each week of like what we're going to do and like what we're going to focus on. It's like
Love
that's
it.
been my biggest thing that I try to do.
And since you were a member of the inner circle, we've kind of changed that. I'm sure most people that watch and listen to this podcast know that, but we did away with the inner circle in November, but we switched it to the course, which was basically everything we taught in the inner circle, but now it's just a little bit more streamlined. And anyway, so we switched to a course. The same principle applies. So what would you say made the biggest impact in your life, in your business, that you learned from Real Estate Megamoms?
Probably the business in a box, I would say. But I did really love the Facebook ad. We had a lot of traction on that. But definitely
Awesome.
don't do that unless you have like the time to follow up on it.
I know it's like a floodgate of
It
leads
is.
that come. It
It
is crazy.
definitely is.
So a quick story, I have a showing agent on my team, and she's also a realtor as well. So kind of like you, I don't ever limit my staff on that they can only help me. They can also sell on their own. So last year she sold 40 houses. It was her first year in real estate.
Wow.
And she won't mind me sharing this because I'm going to interview her soon, but she netted, or no, her 1099 from our brokerage was over or $147,000. So like she did amazing in her first year, especially in Southeast Kansas with a low price point. Okay, this woman is a rock star. She's expecting her second baby. But
Wow.
she duplicated our Facebook ad and she's like, Jess, these are different kind of leads than my sphere. So she ended up, she's actually sending the leads that she's generating. So she's running under her account on Facebook Marketplace. And when they give her their phone number, she's actually screenshotting that and sending it to my ISA to follow up and to nurture. And then when they do come around, we'll send it back to her, but it will be with our referral structure. So because we treat sphere and referrals as, they're different splits and everything. But anyway, I thought that was brilliant and really big thinking on her part. But it was same situation. She did the post and she's like, there's a lot of interest, but there's a lot of nurturing and handholding that goes into it.
For sure. Yeah. My sister is a mortgage lender. And so a lot of times, like, I'll send her the lead and she'll stay in touch with it and she'll put it on a Google sheet and get it back to me. At one point, though, we had to get a second lender for it when we were doing the marketplace ad.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I love that. Okay, so the Facebook Marketplace first time home buyer program was like one of the top things that you learned. And then the next one was our business in a box. And how would you describe the business in a box?
Really knowing your numbers and like knowing how many appointments you need to have a week, that was a game
Yeah.
changer for me.
Being very data driven. So,
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm winning this week or I'm not.
Yeah, for sure.
Love it. Okay. Well, what are you binge watching these days?
I'm not binge watching anything right now. Honestly, I've been very into reading books
Okay.
lately. Yeah,
What are
like
you reading then?
yeah. So I just finished reading The Nanny. It's basically like romantic love stories is basically what I'm reading right now. But
Did you ever read Sarah J. Maas?
I
Like
have not.
Aquatar, that's the acronym for it. You would probably love it. It's really
I'll
it's
have to look
like,
into it.
yeah, I'm trying to think how to describe it. It's like Beauty and the Beast meets, I don't know. It sounds kind of silly. It's a fantasy book, but it's really good. You would like it.
I'll have to
So
check it out.
all right. Well, moms, that's what we have for you today. And we will see you in the next episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and all the things. We're on YouTube and across anywhere you listen to your podcast.